Hey guys, today we're in the book of Numbers, chapter 12. So, chapters 10 through 12, we're in this traveling section. We're going from Mount Sinai to the wilderness of Paran. And we've been seeing a little bit of disobedience, and nothing changes. We see this again right here in chapter 12. But this time, with not the mixed multitude, people who weren't Hebrews, but now we see it to the people who were closest to Moses. So we see it with his brother and his sister. Miriam and Moses spoke against Moses because of the Cushite woman whom he had married, and he had married a Cushite woman. So here we can see that it's his sister Miriam and his brother Moses. Also, Aaron would be the high priest. But in the Hebrew, this is written with female nouns and verbs, showing us that Miriam is kind of the conspirator here, right? Aaron kind of joins up, but Miriam is the one with the issue. And here we see the issue is who Moses married. It says a Cushite. Cushite is what we call today Ethiopian, right? So think of today just a modern day Ethiopian. He has married an Ethiopian. Now some questions come into play because we know that Moses married a woman named Zipporah who was from Midian, or her father was a Midianite. Now, there's a couple things that we're unforsure about, but here's some questions that you might have. Who is this Cushite woman? The first one could be that Zipporah's father really was a Cushite. He was from Ethiopia. He moved up and then was from Midian. And so Zipporah was a Cushite, an Ethiopian woman at birth. So that could be one thing. Number two is some believe that Zipporah has died and Moses has then since remarried. Remember, Moses at this time is about 81, 82 years old. And even for this time, that was a long age in this kind of lifestyle that they would have lived in. So it would have been very easy to understand that Zipporah has died and he has remarried. Another group of people would say that Moses has married another woman. He's still married to Zipporah. She's still living, but he has now taken on a second wife, this Cushite woman. Now, we're not for sure which one, but we can understand a couple of things. One, there is an issue not about who Moses is, but who he married. And why is this important? Well, being a Cushite or an Ethiopian, she would have been very, very dark skinned. Compared to the Hebrew nation, she would have been very, very dark skinned. So she did not look like the others. Was this a racial ploy? Was this a god? The Cushites were a different kind of kingdom. There was some battles in there. They're trying to take over Egypt at times. So what's the play? We really don't know, and it really doesn't matter because Scripture doesn't give us the ultimate answer. But here is the issue. There's a problem about this Cushite woman, but in reality, we're going to see that the Cushite woman, his wife, really isn't the problem at all. Verse 2. And they said, has the Lord indeed spoken only through Moses? Has he not spoken to us also? And you see in your English Bible, there's a question mark. And even in Hebrew, it gives the idea that she's asking a question, but there really is no question. God has spoken to Moses, but he has also spoken to Aaron. He's spoken to Miriam. We see this in Exodus 4, Exodus 12, Exodus chapter 15, and even in the last couple chapters, he spoke to a group of leaders, chiefs, and elders, the 70 that he talked to. So has God spoken to other people? Yes, he has. And so Miriam is raising this question, oh, Moses, why are you so important? Why has God only chose you? He's spoken to us. He's spoken to this. And notice what it says, and the Lord heard it. That's an interesting thought, right? That God knows all things, and we know that. But when we're causing sin, when we're causing dissension, the Lord knows it. And the man Moses was very meek, more than all the people who were on the face of the earth. Wow. That gives us a description of who Moses was. He was a great leader, but he was meek. He was humble. And notice what it says, verse 4, and suddenly, without delay, the Lord spoke audibly to Moses, to Aaron, and to Miriam. And he said, come out, you three, to the tabernacle. He calls all three of them to the tabernacle, right? They're bringing the dissension to Moses, and God says, that's enough, kids, into my room, right? Come to where I am. And the Lord came down in a pillar of cloud and stood at the entrance of the tent and called Aaron and Miriam. This is personally, God came and is going to deal with this issue. He came down in a cloud and he said to them, hear my words. Read my lips, right? That's what God is saying. Listen to what I'm about to say. If there is a prophet among you, notice that, the Lord, made myself known to him in a vision, and I speak to him in a dream. And so here God says, if there is a prophet between you, I chose him. I picked him. I talked to him. Verse 8, with him I speak. God, I speak to him mouth to mouth. We would say today face to face. Clearly, I don't talk to him in riddles, and he beholds the form of the Lord. This doesn't mean that he has seen the Lord, but he has seen the glory of the Lord, right? So Moses, I picked him, I talk to him, I choose him, I tell him. He even knows about me and knows the form in which I am. Why then were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? Here he's saying that Moses really is special. You felt that you were able to come and talk to your brother and say that he thinks he's special, but in reality, Miriam and Aaron, your pride is your sin. It's not the pride of Moses, it's the pride of yourself, right? That's what God is saying. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against them, and he departed. And the cloud removed from the tent. Well, this isn't a good idea. This isn't a good problem. The anger of the Lord is against them, and what happens? And behold, Miriam was leprous. Now remember what we read in the book of Leviticus. Leprous means that she is unclean. God is clean. She is unholy. God is holy. So God said, I'll show you. You think you are good enough to be a prophet? You think you're good enough to come me? You're not even worthy to be inside the tent of the tabernacle. You're not even worthy to be inside of the camp of Israel. You are unholy, unworthy. You are nothing. And Aaron turned toward Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. It shows in the Hebrew that she didn't even realize she was leprous until her brother turned and looked at her and said, oh my goodness, this is crazy. And Aaron said to Moses, oh my Lord, do not punish us, because we have done foolishly and have sinned. Aaron knows what they have done. They have caused sin. They have caused dissension, and he is confessing their sin. Let her not be as one who is dead, who's fleshy. And notice what happens in verse 13. This shows you how humble Moses is. And Moses cried to the Lord, oh God, please heal her. Please. She brought dissension. She tried to tear him down. She and Aaron came to him. God inflicts her, and Moses still prays for her. Even though she is his sister, for a moment, she was the enemy of Moses, the enemy of God, the enemy of Israel, and Moses is still praying for her. But the Lord said to Moses, basically, right, let me summarize, she's got to learn her lesson. She needs to learn her lesson. So she's going to be kicked out of the camp for 7 days, as Leviticus has said. She's going to be kicked out, but after that, she will be brought in again. The leprosy will go away. And remember what we have read, right? She's kicked out. Now that she is without leprosy, what happens? She has to go to a priest. She has to ceremonial clean. The priest has to look her over. This is an embarrassing moment for Miriam, the sister of Moses, right? And so now she has to go, she has to sacrifice, she has to do all the things that Leviticus has said. And so she will be kicked out for 7 days. Then she must come in the camp and do those types of things. And then after all that was done, then the people of Israel marched out and camped in the wilderness of Paran. So it's an amazing feat that they did this sin. All of Israel would have known, right? All of would have known what Miriam and Aaron did. And now all of Israel is sitting and waiting for these 7 days so that she would be without leprosy, that the priest would look at her. She would come in and wash herself and sacrifice and take several days in purification, and then they could move, right? It's the sin that kept them from moving closer to God, right? And it's just an amazing picture of God standing up for his people. You'd ask yourself, where is Jesus in this story? Well, simply, Jesus stands up for his people, right? Jesus told his disciples, there will be no one who will pluck you from my hand. I will keep you. You are mine because the Father has given you to me, right? And so we have this promise that God is always looking, he's always watching, he's always caring for his people. Though at times we need to be disciplined, at times we need to be punished, at times we need to be kicked out of camp, but in the end, God has us, he holds us, and he truly does care for us. A good father always disciplines his children. And here, Miriam and Aaron needed to be punished. Hope that makes sense. We will start the third section tomorrow in the wilderness of Paran in chapter 13. Hope this makes sense. God bless.